show you how to throw a taller cylinder using a heat gun or torch. You can use just a regular paint stripper, you can use a small torch, something like this, or you can use a larger torch like the one I'm going to. I've already centered about 8 pounds of clay. I'm going to go through my basic steps and start throwing the cylinder. As previously described, I'm going to be opening the hole right down the middle. Make sure it's not moving in a circle on the way down or it could be catastrophic. I'm going to be leaving about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of clay at the base, and you can measure with a needle tool if you're unsure. I'm going to be making a hook with my right hand and pulling straight towards 6 o'clock, and then stop and hold. It's very important to collar the material as you go, or the centrifugal force of the wheel is going to want to pull everything you make into a bowl shape. Since this is a little bit more clay than usual, I like to use this whole side of my right hand, this whole area right here, as my main pressure point until it gets a little bit thinner. My left hand is on the inside like normal, around 3 or 4 o'clock. Notice how long my hands are staying all the way down to the bottom, gathering up that material. After every pull, I'm going to collar it in. Now this clay is particularly soft. So when it's a softer material, it really wants to spread out more than normal. Before every pull, I go ahead and wring water over the rim. Notice how my left arm is straight up and down. You really don't want to lean over and have the cylinder be pushed to the side. You want the clay to be revolving around your wrist. And as it gets taller, it's going to be revolving around your whole straight arm. I've actually left the top section of this material a little bit thicker than the bottom. Since it's really exceptionally wet, I'm going to go ahead and take a rib and take all of the slip off the outside and start the drying process. I'm going to go ahead and get all of the water out of the middle and then start the drying process. Although a heat gun works well for this, I actually prefer to use a raku burner with a propane tank. Actually gets the job done a little bit quicker. I'll do this until the clay is actually hot to the touch. After you're done doing this, it's important to remember to let the pot homogenize. You can actually see the steam rising, and that's going to allow me to throw a taller cylinder over some very wet clay. So I'm going to let it sit and spin for 5 to 10 minutes. Well, the material feels good. I've dried it with a torch. I've let it sit here and spin for 8 to 10 minutes. It's way stiffer, but not too stiff to pull. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling, and hopefully we'll make a nice tall cylinder. Now that the material is ready to go, I use all the same hand positions as usual, but I'm going to feel a lot more resistance. So it's very important to have your hands anchored and steady with stiff, rigid pressure points. Notice how long I keep my hands down low, gathering up the material before I start raising them up. And you can see, even though I dried it considerably, it's still moving, no problem. For the most part, I'm just using my fingertips to compress the material. I am holding the sponge, it just adds a little bit of lubrication on the way. And I want to keep this cylinder fairly stiff for shaping reasons. So I'm going to go ahead and take all the water back off of there, and for the most part I'm going to be throwing dry from this point. I'm going to go ahead and use a flexible metal rib on the outside, and this is going to compress the material. It's going to make it nice and even and allow me to start shaping. Using a heat gun or torch will help you make your tallest cylinder ever.